Okay. It's a little bit 6:11, so we'll convene the meeting of the Budget and Finance Subcommittee. If the clerk would call the roll, please. Terry, you're muted.
Okay, here we go.
There.
Mr. Collins,
Here.
Mr. Murphy,
Present.
and Miss Naylor.
Present.
Good afternoon, everyone. This should be pretty quick because these are pretty well no-brainers. The first item on the agenda is to vote to recommend to the full school committee that approve the expenditure of $250,000 from the NFL Foundation Local Initiative Support Corporation Sports and Recreation, LISC, for the FY20 NFL Foundation Grassroots Grant Fund. Go ahead, Mr. I was going to say the money is, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great opportunity. We've been talking since the Putnam Field went offline with the building of Putnam Vocational Technical High School, that we lost that extra field. We need a second field. The mayor has been committed to finding a way to do this. We've been actively seeking grants. Pat and his team have been actively out there seeking grants. We're able to secure this. We're also going to secure some other grants, but it would be to do a second field for us. You know, the new field turf that really is very preferential with all our sports across the city, our interscholastic sports, but then our youth sports. We need a second field, but this will also can be used to help with the infrastructure. So, you know, that parking lot at Duggan needs work. There's a lot of work there besides just the field turf. So it's going to be a very expensive project, and this can help us launch it. But Pat, you might have something to add relative to how the grant was secured and everything, but we are thrilled to get it. I know Pat Sullivan is applying for several other grants, and we're looking for them to pile right on top here and help the mayor as we move forward. This will be a big boom for the city of Springfield to have the second field. And Duggan is almost right dead center in the middle of the city, like Central High School. So a good access point for another field for all of our teams. But as we continue to expand our interscholastic teams and youth sports continue to expand, we really need this field. Pat, if you want to jump in and add some pieces.
No, just that it's a great project. We've been working on it for years since Putnam. We built the new school, like the superintendent said. According to Pat Sullivan, who's kind of spearheading the project, it's going to be a $3.5 million project. So this is just a down payment and some seed money to kind of get it started. We already hired like a preliminary architect to kind of get out and do some of the preliminary design. And this grant from the NFL Foundation, our grants team wrote an excellent grant, and we were able to secure it. And then Pat Sullivan's team has applied for a couple more, working with Mindy Richter in the grants department. And so, you know, a couple of those other ones are some federal grants that could be upwards of $400,000. I think he applied for 2 different $400,000 grants that he feels pretty good about, and the mayor committed to doing this. So any grants we can get are very helpful.
Yeah, and the mayor is committed to say, hey, go get the grants you can get, but he's willing to bond for the rest of it. He just wanted us to get some seed money to get it going, and he's willing to bond for the rest of it. So this is the outstanding for the city and a really great development. I'm really excited about it.
Thank you. So, yep.
Okay, so I remember us having a conversation around this, and I don't remember if it was through the MSBA request or if it was another grant that we're coupling with. Can you give me a little clarification on I know I remembered something dealing with Duggan's Field before, maybe 6 months ago or something.
We had a preliminary indication earlier that we got the grant. I think now we finally got the award. So I know we were talking about this sooner. And even before we sought that grant out, we've been talking about trying to find ways to create this second field. Since we lost that field at Putnam, Ted Plum Field, we've been really hurting and putting too much at Central. So this has been something we've always wanted to do, quite honestly, and this is just one grant towards it. But so there's been discussions earlier.
Wonderful.
I
I
think what
think you gave
maybe,
an update to the committee after Andre Tippett gave you a call.
Yeah, I gave an update when Andre Tippett first called to say we were gonna get this. It was really cool, you know, he called and he said, you know, I'm Andre Tippett, you probably don't remember me. I said, oh, I absolutely remember you. Yeah, he was absolutely fabulous, but now we have the formal award, so we have to vote to accept it. But we've been trying, like Pat said, on this for years, and the mayor's been committed to it, and I just think it's a huge development for the city.
Latonia, you may be remembering, I think we had a brief discussion seeing if we could go to MSBA for some money to do the parking lot as part of that, as maybe a statements of interest project. And I think we're still exploring that, because obviously the parking lot's got to be done along with it. Can we justify that as part of the school and try to get it through MSBA? We're going to give it a shot.
Wonderful. Thank you. I just knew I wanted to make sure I wasn't dreaming.
No. But we've been on this for years.
So can I have a motion to recommend to the full committee?
So moved.
Is there
Second.
a second? Thank you.
Second.
Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Sure. Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
and Ms. Naylor.
Yes.
So the second item on our agenda is a vote to recommend to the full school committee that it approve a donation of $5,000 from American Outdoor Brands, Smith & Wesson, to the food service program. They've decided to donate $5,000 to our food service program.
You know, this is due to Pat's great work, just incredible what he's done with the food service program. And because people have read so much about the Culinary Center, what we've done on meal distribution, we're almost at 1,250,000 meals. Tomorrow, we're going to go over that. And people are hearing about it and want to be part of it. I'll let Pat take it from there to give you more background.
Yeah, it was excellent. A woman from Smith & Wesson gave me a call and said that they wanted to donate $5,000 to the program because they've been seeing all the press and they know our kids really need the food and they know, you know, some of the articles out there were talking about how we're operating at a deficit and how needy our kids are in the city and how much we're just trying to support our families and our students. So it was pretty exciting to get the phone call unsolicited and, you know, we're happy to accept the money.
Yeah, and we're going to keep our program going all summer. So those 17 distribution sites are going to keep going all summer. So it's nice to have the support and the recognition, but it's been a huge success. And again, great work by Pat's team and our partners at Exo. It's been a tremendous collaboration, but very, very positive.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Can I have a
Thanks, Pat.
motion to recommend to the full committee, please?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Sorry.
Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Yeah, Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
and Ms. Naylor.
Yes.
More than sufficient. And the third item is a discussion. Once a year, we actually ask Pat to give us an update as to how the student activity funds are going, and he does monitor them continually, so take it away, Pat.
So I'm just going to read from the memo. It's pretty basic. This is our standard end of year update so that the committee knows that everything's in working order with the student activity accounts. So all programs have been confirmed to be proper student activities and funds have been deposited in the appropriate accounts. Training was provided by the Office of Business and Financial Services to keep the school with a student activity. The city maintains one checking account for all student activities, which is maintained and reconciled by the city treasurer on a monthly basis. Standardized forms for all deposits and disbursements are in use, and there are no activities that are in a deficit as of June 2020. And I'm happy to answer any questions related to that if any members have questions.
Any committee members have questions on that? I want to thank you, Pat, I mean, this has been, quite honestly, it was a mess in the past, so it's nice to have it be where it is, where it's really done in a business-like manner.
We've come a long way, and this was a mess at one time, but Pat's really pulled it together. And I think you'll have read where other communities have had problems with some of these things. So Pat's team and Pat have really taken a lead role and pulled this together and organized it very, very efficiently and appropriately, so we won't have a problem. So I just want to, again, congratulate Pat and his team for great work.
Yeah, my
It
team
wasn't
does a
all-
great job getting in there and working with principals and the advisors, so we've come a long way.
Yeah.
Having progressed through our agenda, all of the items on our agenda on a motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
That's a tie, but I'm going to give that one to Mrs. Naylor.
Chris, got to have a roll call.
I got it. Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Naylor.
Yes.
Thank you all. Brendan, you can do what you did before and suspend the broadcast, if you would, please.